We lived entire lives beside strangers, on trains, in streets, across crowded rooms. And yet, we never spoke. We carried letters for them in our hearts. Letters of kindness, letters of curiosity, letters of love we never dared to send. A glance became a story. A silence became a lifetime. And the words stayed folded, waiting for a moment that never arrived. We wrote to the ones who brushed past us, to the eyes that lingered for a second too long, to the hands that almost reached out. We wrote to them in our minds, but the letters never left our lips. And so they remained unsent, unspoken, unanswered. Proof that even in silence we were reaching for connection. We once had friends who felt like home. We laughed until the night forgot its darkness. We carried secrets like treasures, and believed nothing could break us. But time had other plans. We drafted letters for them. Letters of gratitude, letters of apology, letters of longing for the days we thought would last forever. But the words stayed folded because distance grew louder than memory. We wrote to the ones who once knew us best, but now would not recognize our voices. We wrote to the laughter that faded, to the promises that dissolved, to the warmth that turned into silence. And still, the letters remained unsent. Perhaps they were never meant to arrive. Perhaps they were only proof that once we belonged to each other. And even in absence, that belonging still mattered. We carried apologies like stones in our pockets. Heavy. Unspoken. Waiting for the courage that never came. We rehearsed forgiveness in ink, but the page remained unsent. We wrote to the ones we hurt, to the friends we abandoned, to the strangers we dismissed, to the loves we betrayed. Each letter was a doorway, but we never stepped through. Fear kept us silent. Pride kept us still. And so the words stayed folded, locked inside envelopes that never left our hands. Perhaps the apologies were not for them at all. Perhaps they were for us, proof that we knew we had failed, and proof that we longed to heal. We have lived many lives inside a single body. The dreamer, the reckless, the hopeful, each one of them left behind. We wrote letters to the people we once were, to the child who believed in endless summers, to the youth who mistook desire for destiny, to the wanderer who thought every road led home. But the words stayed folded because we weren't sure they would understand. We wrote to the selves who carried our first laughter, our first mistakes, our first heartbreaks. We wanted to tell them, you mattered. Even if we outgrew you, you were the soil from which we rose. And so the letters remained unsent, but not forgotten. They are folded inside us still, proof that every version of ourselves was once alive and once beloved. We wrote letters to the departed, to the graves, to the ashes, to the empty chairs that still remembered their weight. But the letters could not cross the silence. We wrote to the voices that no longer answered, to the hands that no longer reached, to the laughter that no longer filled the room. Every word was a prayer, every sentence a plea, every pause a wound. We folded our grief into envelopes, sealed them with trembling hands, and placed them on altars of memory. But the letters remained unsent because the departed could not return. And yet, we kept writing as if ink could bridge the distance between worlds. Perhaps the letters were not for them at all. Perhaps they were for us, to remind us that love does not vanish, that memory does not die, and that even silence can carry devotion. Not every letter was meant to arrive. Some were written only to carry the weight of what we could not say. They remained folded, hidden in drawers, buried in journals, or whispered only to ourselves. We feared their arrival, yet we needed their existence, because even unsent words have power. They remind us that we tried to speak, that we reached for connection, that silence was never the whole story. Every folded page was a testament to love unspoken, to grief unshared, to forgiveness unfinished. And though the letters never traveled, they carried us forward, teaching us that even absence can hold meaning. So let the unsent remain. Let them rest in silence, as proof that we lived, that we longed, and that even in words withheld, we were reaching for each other.